Yes, the Diocletian jewellery, the finest.
Yes, and which emperor? Is that Augustus on the ring?
Yes, or? It will be Augustus, maybe even Nero. We haven't
Nero, as in Cafe Nero.
Yeah, that. Not Costa, but Nero.
Yeah, there it is. No. That's Caligula.
Anyway, so you can see
he hasn't got the hair.
We've left the ancestral hovel.
Once again, we've left the ancestral hovel.
Crossed the moat through parklands, up the Shepherd's Bush High Road. And we've ended up
in London's fashionable West End.
Yes,
at the Bulgari shop, as you might have gathered.
The only place on the street with glass ceiling, natural light, the finest place.
Natural light, the finest natural light. This is natural light that's been imported direct from Italy, according to EU legislation.
Yes.
And in the room off there, they have a faithful,
Pantheon.
full-scale, one-to-one rebuilding of the Pantheon, including the oculus.
Yeah,
the largest unsupported concrete dome in the world.
What a world!
I mean, this is just amazing. But let's start with the cigars because we're looking at thin watches.
Exceptionally thin. What record-breakingly thin.
Everything is a record breaker.
Watches.
Every new year is a sort of a new record has been broken.
Yes.
Often records that one didn't even know were there to be broken are broken.
But they just break.
They break.
They break.
They break. They just
not easily.
No.
But they break.
Bulgari just touches them and they break.
And what we will do, and Freddie, I hope will insert an image here. But I have the world's thinnest tourbillon, if I'm not mistaken.
And I have the world's pink gold bracelet watch.
The pinkest gold in the world.
Yes.
As Father had pointed out earlier, Lord Father himself, we have the jewellery, the Diocletian jewellery, and the Zaha Hadid.
You've got the Zaha Hadid. Anyway, look, let's start the cigars.
Image.
Let's start the cigars and then we can talk a bit more.
Image.
So I want to also look at the minute repeater, which actually is very thin too.
Alright, but we've also got exceptionally thin cigars.
And we've got exceptionally thin cigars.
And old. The finest cigars.
Supplied by Edward from his personal selection. Which one would you prefer, Max?
The one that you're not smoking.
Excellent.
Very, very fine decision.
That's very wise.
So these are old Cuban Davidoff 3000s?
Old Cuban Davidoff 3000s.
As opposed to the newer Cuban variety.
As opposed to the newer Cuban variety from the Dominican Republic.
And so,
there you go,
and these will be from the 80s, won't they? They? And it's a ninfas, a 33 ring gauge.
Is it a ninfas?
I think it's meant to be 7 inches, 33 ring gauge.
What was the 28 ring gauge one?
That's
the punch ninfas, right?
That was the Slenderella. That was the Rafael
Gonzalez. The Rafael Gonzalez Slenderella at 28, the punch ninfas at 33.
Yeah, well, maybe the Slenderella would have been a more appropriate cigar for such record-breaking thin watches.
Yes, it would have been. We are.
It would be plugged. It would be plugged, though. So.
It would be like smoking a very, very thin pencil.
Yeah, or a chopstick, or.
But this actually became the Hoyo du Gourmet, I think, in the end, which, as we know, is a great cigar.
Delicious, sparkling orange juice there.
Fresh from Italian oranges.
Along with the Italian sun.
Probably imported before Brexit.
Yes. I've again forgotten my flame. We know it's very dangerous to have me and fire kind of.
I think it's very dangerous to have
at the same time.
Yes, in with combustibility is not your strong suit.
I see you're taking a different approach to lighting your cigar today, not as theatrical and.
You just wait. I
am waiting for the flamethrower effect. Oh, the finest. I don't think it could be better than that. If I may, I would like to make use.
You can actually taste the age immediately.
Yeah, it's great with these things.
Did you taste it unlit?
I haven't yet, no, but I can't now. So there
But
we
what
go.
I loved about this cigar, this very thin cigar, was the Davidoff 3000. It's Edward Gibbon's second favourite cigar in the world after the number 2, I think, isn't it?
The number 2 is a great cigar, yes.
And he was saying that in the 80s, such was the demand for this cigar that people would send, there were 2 guys in particular who collected these. And this is in the 1980s, viewer. Long time ago, before many of you were even born. Before many of your parents were born, I would imagine, for the younger smoker. In those long lost days of mobile telephones the size of...
And the cathode ray tube.
The cathode ray tube, the early home computer.
Yeah, so this was it Amstrad.
The dot matrix printer.
Alan Sugar was...
Alan Sugar, Amstrad computers.
Sir
Halcyon
Alan.
days. But anyway, back to the anecdote at hand. It was such in demand that rich people, there were 2 rich people who would send their airplanes around the world to purchase these cigars.
Very good.
They had a competition, they'd be circling Paris or wherever else they would, and then they would sit down, dash to the Davidoff.
Well, if I had the money, I'm sure I'd do the same. It's a great cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, I've only ever tried this before. When you'd given me one that had fallen to, or you had one that had fallen to pieces, its wrapper had come off the
Yeah,
binder.
I'm so good to you in that respect.
Yeah, very kind. Get your scraps, and
Yes, you do.
and it didn't smoke at all. It was completely plugged, but the flavour was nice. You know.
But this is
delicious.
This is
Perfect.
delicious. This is really, really good. And now I don't know quite how we're going to measure them against the watches. What do you think?
Well, I don't think it's much thicker than any of the watches we have here.
Maybe if we piled the watches up.
What's the one you wanted to talk about? The minute repeater.
The minute
which was
repeater. The
exciting
minute
you.
repeater. It was exciting me because also you see that what they've done, and there will be a close-up later, no doubt, viewer. What they've done is they've pierced the dial as you look, so you see the mechanism underneath, and to help amplify the sound. And
is this the one you're going to place next to our sound recording device?
yeah, again,
Carefully hidden. Can that be heard? And now that was quite something. Mm.
You know, I could have heard. So I could have. It was almost like the dog whistle one. Do you know what I mean?
No, but
Did you hear that?
I did hear it.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
I did hear it.
Because this is actually incredibly slim, and if you look at the back, honestly, I do feel like I'm a salesman here. It's terrible. I'm such a lousy
Was
salesman.
it QVC teleshopping?
Yes, but they've got actually proper people who know what they're talking about here, so they shouldn't really rely on me. But you can see the gongs. You see those circular things there. There's
What?
wires around the edge.
Yes.
Those are the gongs that they strike to make the noise.
Amazing.
And then you see the little trebuchet hammers about there.
But then
You see the hammers? Hammers? See
Yeah,
the
yeah,
hammers?
yeah.
So should we do it again?
It's great.
Maybe what we'll do later, viewer, is actually activate it and then film the back.
Mmm.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? You see that?
Oh, that's brilliant. What a world, yes.
Mhm, mhm.
At this point in time, I think the viewer should see on their screen, top right-hand corner, an image
No,
of
the
the
whole
reverse,
thing, the whole thing.
a reverse
the whole
of the
thing,
watch.
whole thing. But you know, what really disappoints me, and I must say this in all earnestness, was the fact that brilliant, you remember there was that Diocletian and his family,
Yeah,
and their dog depicted on a coin set in a sort of emerald and enamel.
but it was too tight for you, wasn't
Yes,
it?
it was like wearing a garrote. I think that's made for children, or I think it's actually made for emaciated children with very thin necks.
I don't think that's
I mean,
the
honestly,
case.
I don't have a large
I
neck.
don't think that's
You know,
the case.
or a garrote.
A
It could be a
garrote.
very stylish garrote.
Yes.
As in, was it Bruno Giordano who was garroted at the stake before being burnt?
I think my mother would like that a lot. It would fit her neck.
Do you
Being
think
a,
it
being
would?
A, being a slender, elegant lady.
She's a slender, elegant lady. I'm just a brute.
Yes.
A powerfully built oxen. I am year of the. I'm not year. I've got the build of an ox.
Yes,
And the
but
constitution.
it's a shame because it did look very good. And this is kind of a similar tension or
Correct tension.
Correct tension.
No, but
it's
you're
very
right.
70s.
It's
quite
the
70s.
70s. Because you see, I felt that would be very good. I mean, this one's nice, but I feel almost like a Lord Mayor or an Olympic athlete, albeit winner of the Diamond Set gold medal.
The highest award for the
highest award
best
for,
cigar smoker,
for best cigar smoking and backgammon playing. I mean, this is a proper lifetime achievement award of a lifetime well spent. And just imagine, Max, I'm so near the end of my life, and I look back,
and then you think of the time you wore that, or
yes, I mean, as I expire with my family around me, aged 107, as I give them, come closer for words of wisdom. Do you remember that piece of Diocletian's jewellery we didn't get to wear because it was too tight? That's my one regret in life. It's my rosebud moment. Viewer. For those of you who like the cane from Citizen Kane, we have the Diocletian and his family and their pet dog necklace.
From Bulgari.
Yes,
Yeah.
The pronunciation.
Sorry, pardon me, I caught my tongue there.
You really did. But also you're wearing an unusual.
Yes,
so your
brooch
diamond
as well.
brooch. I swear I've seen that before. Wasn't that what we give you at Christmas?
No. Yes, this is my fifth Christmas, I think. If I'm
Or
not
your
mistaken.
fifth birthday? I can't
one
remember.
of the two. Yes, you gave me this as a toy to.
Yes, you were very fond. You were going to take a. You were horsey. The GG we used to.
No, but it's great, isn't it? Look, it goes so well actually with what I'm wearing. I was very pleasantly surprised.
I love that idea. It goes with almost anything. It's so easy to wear.
It is. You see?
Probably only about £50 or something like that.
Maybe a little bit more. How's your cigar?
Delicious.
It's great. It's very mild. Really mild.
But
very
really
sweet.
mild, but with flavour, and that's what I quite like. Is there's often there's that sort of confusion between flavour and strength, because raw power. And what I like is subtlety, really. I mean, you can have. Because you get that sort of age immediately for the first sort of couple of puffs, and then you get this sort of smooth, malty kind of taste. What do you get?
Maybe even kind of like vanilla almost.
But Madagascan vanilla.
Certainly.
Organic Madagascan vanilla.
Wouldn't have any other. I'm not
single estate.
I'm not familiar with any other type of vanilla. So,
no, I know you've only.
That's what I'm working
very
with.
best. Let me just display my a word from our sponsors here, just to sort of get the light glinting, the Italian light imported from the EU glinting off our jewellery.
What was the famous quote? The cigar is as smooth as the
movement
on my watch. The tourbillon.
The tourbillon. Yes. Tell us about the tourbillon, Max.
Oh, I wish I could. I mean, you're the one that's built a career out of this. I'm only starting.
But it's a family business. You want to start taking over.
Well, I
200 years old this year. The tourbillon.
I'll tell you what. I very much like the look of it. It is very pretty.
It's a very profound remark.
Yeah. Yes.
But then you are in such an ETH seat. And you're wearing the Zaha Hadid
195 caliber. That's what I'll tell you.
195 caliber.
It's something that's I'll tell you that. That's what I'll tell you. Just for free. No?
Just for free.
No,
it's the thinnest. It's a record breaker.
No charge for that.
But they should have records broken on the hour. Don't you think?
Usually I charge for that type of.
I think every hour there's a new record broken.
Yeah, I mean in the Bulgari world, it's every half hour.
No, I think every hour.
45 minutes. Three quarters of an hour.
No, but there is. They're going thin. They're going very, very thin. I spoke to Antoine Pin yesterday, who is, I remember very, very fondly from his days selling Tag Heuer watches. He now runs the Bulgari watch department, and I was teasing him mercilessly about his number of world records, and he said, but there is a purpose in that they're going to go so thin. They're going to make watches that when you hold them up to the light and turn them sideways, disappear.
You won't be able to see them. No. Amazing. No. When's that going to happen? In a couple of weeks?
Couple of weeks time. Couple of weeks.
Yeah, not too long.
Not too long to wait for that. But in the meantime, I mean, this we're going to have to get them to roll thinner cigars.
Yeah, this looks huge in comparison to what I'm wearing. I was going to say I picked up a kind of a saltiness to it, not quite as sweet as it originally was. But I mean, I would say it's not even really at the light body kind of thing. It's so mild.
Yeah.
But subtle and kind of well rounded.
And it's very good to be able to smoke it in the shop with this light. It allows you to appreciate the wrapper.
Which we would say is a Colorado Claro.
Colorado Claro.
Indeed. Maybe
look at that beautiful Cuban band.
There was something when Mr. Zeno Davidoff had his dispute with Cuba Tobacco.
Yeah.
Apparently he kind of set fire to 100,000 cigars that were of
really?
poor quality.
Did you know that?
I actually did an internet search, not today, not yesterday, I think it might have been a couple of weeks ago, and I found this out, and then obviously he inevitably left to Dominican.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting, they gave him his
He was
own
so
brand.
unhappy with the
1960.
quality.
That's what they say. I think there were other forces at work that are beyond my understanding. I mean,
Anyone's understanding.
I'm a very, very simple-minded individual, and it's very difficult for me to grasp anything more than a single thing at a time. But also the great thing is we have the fire exit sign blinking away there. If you can see that in the background viewer, it's in case we need to rush for the exits. We will be safe. We will be safe. Safety first.
Yes,
that's what always we say when there's fire involved. There's safety first. No, but in 1968 he got the accolade from the Cuban government, wasn't it, to have his own name on a cigar?
Yes, because up until then he was making the Chateau series.
Yeah, and again that was all done with a handshake rather than with sort of brand endorsement, because you wouldn't do that today. But I mean, the Dom Perignon is the sort of Davidoff, the Cuban Davidoff, isn't it?
Dom Perignon, yes, but that came around once he made once he joined with Cuba Tobacco, hadn't it? It wasn't around beforehand, was it?
And there's the Anniversario.
There's the 80th Anniversario, which is 1986 or something that came out.
Could be.
I think it might be actually. I think I've done well.
It could be good because it's almost an anagram. Well, I mean, whatever the numerical equivalent of an anagram is, because it's like sort of 1968 he got the permission to do it. In 1986 they made the Anniversario.
Anyway, should we leave the
We're talking utter crap, which is usually a signal that we should have a rest and restore ourselves and gather what wits we have. Thank you. We were having an interesting debate in our intermission.
Well, I was having a nap. I think you were.
Maybe I just mistook your sleeping for active engagement.
My nodding off.
Yes, agreement, sage agreement. We were trying to say, because Freddie asked a very very appoint question, that did we prefer this to the cigar we had for our last broadcast, which was the Trinidad Robusto Extra?
Yes.
And I said it's a bit like comparing his 1963 Vespa to a brand new Ducati
Panigale or something.
Yes, both have two wheels. And in this case, both are cigars. But beyond that, it's a bit difficult to draw parallels.
Yes.
However, we can say that this is delightful, light, almost floral in bouquet, wouldn't you say?
Floral. I was saying I had the vanilla.
It's sort of vanilla rum note, and also this sort of vanilla, but occasionally slightly salty flavour to it.
And it fills the whole of the mouth.
Yeah, it's a beautifully made cigar.
Yeah.
And it would have been interesting to have it in its heyday, but it's fascinating now because this is such an historical experience, an historic moment.
Yes, and I would say that I enjoy this over the Trinidad simply because it's milder,
and also your
my kind of format. But it's so difficult to come by that I may have to settle for that.
I love that they're settling for that fantastic cigar. But with the younger gentleman who's purchasing cigars, do they like the slender ring gauges now, or is that just you being sort of a little contrapuntal in your tastes?
I don't know what contrapuntal means, but what I will say is that I try to persuade the younger viewer and younger buyer of cigars to sway them towards the slender gauges, as I think they're more elegant, more approachable. And what a cigar should look like in my eyes. Except, of course, the danger sometimes of them being plugged and all this,
How do people react when you suggest a sort of slim cigar to them?
A lot of them say, a few will say, oh no, I'm a big man, I need a bigger cigar, or some will say, oh, it's not really what I imagine a cigar looking like, and then some will say, I love it. I've not seen cigars this shape and size before, and I think it's very elegant.
Like slim watches, they're very elegant. I've always liked slim watches.
But also the younger smoker and the younger watch collector or watch enthusiast will be more familiar with a thicker cigar or a heftier watch. Yeah. So when they come across something so slim, it's like something they've never seen.
It's a novelty. Whereas
they've been around
forever. And I mean, it's interesting because the 70s and 80s, which was the heyday of the slim cigar, was also the heyday of the slim, small, round watch. I mean, 37mm watch was considered on the biggish side.
Yeah.
38, 39mm, and you're going, whoa.
I mean, I came with my trusted Bulova from the 80s today, and that's the size of a.
It's the size of a small postage stamp or a large aspirin.
Yeah, and I like how Bulgari have kind of replicated that. I mean, although the watch is, wider in diameter, it's still incredibly thin. So it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
really.
and it's anyway. And a word on our dress. We are wearing Italian national costume, really, in honour of Bulgari. We're dressing after the great cultural figure, Mr. Alessandro Ristori.
Yes,
the popular musician.
It's a shame I didn't bring my snakeskin flares.
Yes, and neither did I. Unfortunately, I forgot to put them on.
Next time I.
But Mr. Ristori, we can't wait for you, or Signor Ristori, as I believe
Signor
they say,
Ristori.
south of the Alps. Signor Ristori. We wish you well, and we wish you a speedy return to your non-stop schedule of performances.
The finest. Yes, we have taken inspiration from him.
We have taken inspiration from him.
With
And he's a very inspiring
the
character.
collars over the lapels.
And we also learned something very useful in the intermission.
Yes.
We can actually tell who these people are by simply turning over the piece of jewellery and reading
And
the
using
information.
someone else's eyes in your case.
Well, in my case, I have got somebody called, looks like Lucania or Luciania. Let's say Luciana, but I think it actually is Lucania Vela. And I'm sure that wasn't V supposed to be pronounced W?
Yes.
Vela.
Yeah.
And that was around about the 4th century BC.
Then I've got Augustus on my.
Which Augustus?
medallion.
They're all called Augustus.
Yeah, well, one of the ones. And here,
What's that one?
I've got this one that you said wasn't even a name. Ciccia Crispus Cais. And that'll be AD Anno. Is that Anno Domini?
Yeah, Anno Domini.
Okay.
Anno Domini.
316 to 326.
God, that's quite late.
It is brilliant, isn't it? This
I
is
was
like
listening to
this
Gibbon.
is like modern currency. Almost.
It is. I mean, it's virtually up to date. I was listening to Gibbon's Decline and Fall this morning on audiobook.
Yeah. Of course. I do that every morning.
It's so good. It's so good because he sort of got this wonderful turn of phrase where he said they had a contempt for life unless it was allied to liberty, and he was describing the the Germans who beat the Romans at the Teutoburg Battle of the Teutoburg. I think it was the Battle of the Teutoburg.
Very
Forest.
familiar with that.
The Teutoburg Forest.
I think we learned that. I think it was reception or year 1.
And you had to reenact the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest.
Yeah,
in
we did that.
actual armour.
Yeah, and they would give you real weaponry.
Happy days.
Needless to say, a few children.
But you should read Gibbon. I mean, Gibbon on the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. It's
I
a
don't
joy.
read it. I have it on audiobook.
Yeah, I do too. It's fantastic. To forget this podcasting and club housing. When you can get a good bit of Gibbon, and we got a good bit of Gibbon on the old telephone through the noise cancelling headphones. There's nothing like it. And that was my revision actually for coming to this the heart of Italian jewellery elegance, was reading Gibbon's Decline and Fall and Rise Again, if our current surroundings or anything you go by, of the Roman Empire.
Yes.
And the reconstruction just off out of sight here of the life size.
Have you got any footage of the Pantheon life size?
The life size Pantheon, yes. That's actually Hadrian buried in there, isn't it? They've exhumed him from wherever he was lying last time, which might have been the Pantheon. And wasn't it George Clooney who wanted to return the Elgin marbles to the Pantheon?
Yes, instead of the Parthenon.
Yes.
Yeah, easy mistake to make. Not one I would have made, but an easy one to make nonetheless. Anyway, I think we better shut up now because I think we're overwhelming the viewer.
God, we're overwhelming ourselves, and we're overtaxing the hospitality of our wonderful hosts at Bulgari.
Yeah,
Joyce Wang, Queen in London, and the Record Breakers.
The
Record Breakers, and
again, it's been you're more intrigued by the watches and me maybe by the jewellery.
Mind you, I quite like this. I quite like the coins.
Yeah, the coins are good. I must admit.
And I still I couldn't wear the one depicting Diocletian on holiday by the seaside with his family.
Can't have everything.
Viewer, we are continuing to fight the virus one corona at a time, and thank you for your kind indulgence.
Thank you. Goodbye.